Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to discuss some news about the Matrix franchise. And I did a video on this a little while ago that there was a rumor that the Matrix 4 was actually in production. We have confirmation now that the Matrix 4 is going to happen, and Keanu Reeves and Carrie Moss are both attached to reprise their roles as Neo and Trinity, respectively. In addition to that, we also have Lana Wachowski, who is coming on to direct and write the film. Her sister, brother, whatever, apparently is not currently involved in this. So that is kind of interesting to note, since both of them did the original Matrix trilogy back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Now, this was kind of drowned out yesterday because of all the Spider-Man news, and I might do a video on that in the future, another video kind of updating that, because there's a lot of tumultuous things involving the deal between Marvel and Sony, but this is something that kind of got drowned out because of that. And it is very interesting to see, even though I feel like this is kind of a bad move, because we basically killed off most of the pretty much almost all of the characters at the end of the third Matrix film. I believe Neo is dead. I know Trinity is dead, unless they're existing, inside the Matrix in and of itself, which would probably be interesting in a sense. But we kind of resolved everything at the end of Matrix 3, so there's really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go back to that universe and do more with it. Now, I'm kind of happy this isn't a reboot, and I would be very disappointed if they decided to reboot it with the same characters. That would just be weird, or the same actors. But there's question marks here. There's a lot of question marks here. Now, Keanu Reeves has obviously had his resurgence in recent years, the John Wick franchise, as well as he appeared in Toy Story. He lent his voice to Toy Story characters in Toy Story 4, and he's been off and on in a lot of movies that have been relatively successful. But at the core of that is really John Wick. He's filming Bill and Ted 3 right now. That's yet to be seen whether or not that'll be a success. But this seems like another kind of thing where they're just dredging him up. And I don't necessarily, again, I don't necessarily like the idea of continuing on with the Matrix franchise just because we ended on such a final note with the Matrix 3. And the other problem is that the Matrix sequels, the Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions, were not very good. They were kind of shit movies. And I'm curious if the studios have learned their lesson about allowing the Wachowskis free reign whenever they write and direct a film. Because, again, I'm reiterating something that I've said before in previous videos, but in the past, the Wachowskis, especially with The Matrix, the Wachowskis were checked. They were said, okay, this is a little too complex, let's dumb it down, let's do this, instead of doing that. And even people might say, oh, that's compromising a creative vision. Look, it's entertainment, and I think that when you look at a movie, it's entertainment first and art second. If it happens to, it's one of those things that if it happens to be art after the fact, then that's amazing. That's great. That's ultimately what you want, is for a movie to be viewed as a piece of art. But it should be entertainment first. You should be entertaining to people before you try to make it into some kind of intellectual art form. And that's really the core of why the Matrix sequels failed, is you want to call it art, that's fine, but it was not as entertaining as the first one, and it didn't do things that people really wanted to see. The sequels kind of turned a lot of people off. They were very complex in a lot of ways. The dialogue was very clunky in some sections of it. The visuals and stuff were very weird. There was a lot of stuff going on in those sequels that were significant turnoffs for audiences that had liked the original film. And now you're going to go forward, and again, I'm not sure how the production process on this is going to go. It's obvious that they already have the director and writer set. They already have most of the starring actors set. I don't know if they've got Lawrence Fishburne back to play Morpheus, but that would probably be a good thing as well, in addition to getting Keanu Reeves and Carrie Moss. But moving forward, it's going to be interesting to see, especially when the first trailers come out for this, what we're looking at, because if the studios decide to just let Lana Wachowski do whatever she wants to do and write as complex and convoluted as a plot as she can, then we're going to have a film like the Matrix sequels. But if they come in and they say, hey, you need to tone this back a little bit, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, we're going to keep this simple because this is the first time we've had a Matrix film in, I think it's been 15 or 16 years. Or yeah, 16 years because both of the Matrix sequels came out in 2003, which is another weird little sub thing. But you know, they're going to have to kind of keep her in check. There's going to have to, and I don't know who the executive producer is on this right now, or any of the other producers that are weighing in on it, but whoever that executive producer is going to need to have some command and control over this in terms of the creative aspect, and not just let her run amok. And the other thing that kind of is concerning to me is that after the Matrix, really, there's not a lot that the Wachowskis have done that I would say is successfully notable. Cloud Atlas was relatively good. Jupiter Ascending is a train wreck. Speed Racer is there, I guess. Again, you're making a serious live action film out of a cheesy 70s anime, so okay, whatever you want to do with that. And then they wrote the script for V for Vendetta, but they did not direct it. And this is another thing that I think a lot of people don't really get in a lot of cases. When a director also writes the script, a lot of the times that script goes not necessarily verbatim, but a lot of that script is not changed during the filming. We can see that a lot with the Coen brothers. If you look up the script for Fargo, a lot of the script goes directly from the script to the screen. However, if you look up other film scripts and then compare them to what is on the screen versus on the page, a lot of it gets changed midway through. Some of it, tends to be because of budgetary issues. Some of it tends to be because they don't feel that a line works so well. There's a famous one with Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, where Irving Kershner and Harrison Ford changed the line for Han Solo before he's frozen in carbonite, where he's originally Princess Leia says that she loves Han Solo, and he's supposed to say, "I love you too," and instead he in the movie, obviously, instead he says, "I know," and it fits a lot better with Han Solo's character, and Harrison Ford was right to protest the line, and Irving Kershner agreed with him. However, George Lucas fought them tooth and nail because he was the one that inevitably wrote the script, in addition to, well, not solely wrote the script, but he was he was basically the final stamp of approval on that script. Now, again, this is something that it happens a lot, and I think that having a separation between the writer and the director in a lot of cases is a good idea, and I think it's a good idea in this case because you need to understand that there are certain things that go on in the film process that change from day to day. So just because the Wachowskis wrote the V for Vendetta script does not necessarily mean that's the same movie you're seeing on screen, because they did not direct it as well. So I don't know. This is going to be kind of interesting moving forward. I'm going to kind of keep an eye on this and see what's going on. Obviously, it's interesting because they were able to get Keanu Reeves back. And, I'm sure the man has an extremely busy schedule. Carrie Ann Moss, I don't think is doing much. I remember she was on Jessica Jones, but now that show's over, I'm assuming she's not doing much. And so it would be interesting to see all of those kind of units, all of those moving cogs come back together and to try and make another Matrix film and try to make it more interesting again. But only time will tell. I want to know what your opinion is, though. Would you be excited to see another Matrix film with Keanu Reeves? Do you think that this is a franchise that probably shouldn't be revisited because of the sequels, or do you just not care? Put your thoughts in the comments. Again, I like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?